And finally, on the top five, our last story, British police have used a 50,000-volt taser on a 15-year-old boy. The student with learning difficulties was hit at a special school in a village in the Devon countryside. Police were called in over an alleged assault on a teacher in a scuffle with pupils. The incident has infuriated campaigners. They say the use of taser on a vulnerable boy with complex learning difficulties was excessive. New figures have revealed that UK police use tasers against children as young as 11 almost every day. Nearly a dozen people have lost their lives in similar attacks since the US-made weapons were introduced a decade ago. Isa Ali is our correspondent. He's with us now live from London. Let's get the latest from him. So, Isa, what else can you tell us about this latest incident, why it happened and what's been done about it?
Well, this incident actually took place in a town called Plymouth at a school for children with disabilities. Many of them have learning difficulties, many of them have emotional and physical and mental problems which are very deep-seated and deep-rooted. And the police were called apparently to this school to answer an assault against a teacher. And the pupil in question, who is only 15 years of age, but obviously they haven't named the child, was alleged to have assaulted a teacher. However, the story is a bit, it doesn't really match up according to legal advisors. Sophie Khan from the Political Action Committee, which monitors police action, has stated that the police should have known that, in a normal circumstance, if they go to a normal school, perhaps they didn't know the child was disabled. But this school particularly is for children with disabilities. So first of all, they should have known better, she says, not to use this weapon. Second of all, these, as you mentioned, attacks are very common. It doesn't get a lot of attention in the media, but every day we see police using these to restrain children. Now, there are rules and regulations which regulate the use of tasers, one of which is that you can only use a taser against a child if it's the very, very last resort. However, in 2007, the United Nations Committee Against Torture actually designated taser guns as a form of torture. So essentially, we're having these devices used as torture, not just against children, against adults. And when I read the voltage, 50,000 watts is possibly enough to stun an elephant. So if you think about the amount of power in this, for them to then use it against a child and a disabled one at that is, analysts have said is a shocking, disproportionate use of force. The IPCC, which is the Independent Police Complaints Commission, which is supposed to oversee the police's actions, they haven't received a complaint yet, but I'm sure when they will, they'll be interested to know just what the police who used this were thinking at the time, because this, again, under UN mandates, constitutes torture on many levels, again, not just against children. And this is a weapon which has been commonly used. That same police force earlier this year has been under investigation for using it against a man who had doused himself in petrol. And when they used the taser, it set off the petrol and the man burnt to death. Yes. So this is a weapon which is likely to come under much more scrutiny in the months to come.
Thank you very much, Isa Ali, our correspondent with us there live from London. And that brings us to an end of this edition of The Top 5. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. I'll be back after a short break with The Light.